Welcome back to another Reacción Bravas, sticking with our voice of Santos Bravos. I'm going back a little bit and taking a look at one of their earlier challenges. This was the one, I think it was after Lloviendo Estrellas. This was Me Rehúso by Danny Ocean, veering to a different style from what they had been doing, because they had done obviously a couple of ballads and they tried Dynamite, and then they did this challenge. So we're gonna be taking a look at that. I wanted to mention that for this challenge, what was the difficult part about this specific song is the rhythm, because it switches between flows. Obviously, you have the rhythm of the music, which is like dun 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 dun, dun. And obviously that's like the melody that's throughout the whole song, but the rhythm changes come in the lyrics, in the verses. The verses have first between not only rhythm changes within the verses, but also fluctuation of what words get accents, like accent points. And then obviously when it goes into the little bit of the faster rhyme, and then a different rhythm when it goes into the chorus. And then within the choruses, it changes not fluctuation, it changes the inflection of certain words. It might be the exact same lines, but the second time they sing the chorus, they change the what did he say, inflection of specific words to give it a slightly different little bit of a flavor. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at this challenge from a while back, but I hadn't posted this yet, so we're gonna go ahead and take a look at it with starting with group 1. Let me put the captions. Hopefully it catches the lyrics. Auto-generated, so I don't know how accurate they're gonna be. I'm not I don't have this song memorized, so that's why I need to do the lyrics. But group 1, we're gonna have Kawe, Alex, I love Kawe's hairdo, Kawe, Alex, Alejandro, Kenneth, Leo, Drew, and Lucas. I remember when I saw this challenge, I didn't like this styling with the jerseys. I didn't feel it fit the vibe, because it's kind of very I don't feel it fit the vibe of the song. I knew they were going for a fresh urban boy group look, but I don't know where the jerseys fit in with that. I wish they would have given them some a twist on the style that Kenneth and Leo have, or even something similar to what Drew has, because if you notice, he's the only one that has a shirt wrapped around his waist. I loved this shirt on him, and even with the little bandana, this look looks very fresh and youthful, and this just, I don't know, it doesn't fit. And even the way they styled Lucas's with the, you know how that's the style now, they're doing one arm out or whatever. But personally, I didn't like those two outfits for those two. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at this group 1. They're harmonizing well. See, they nailed the what's the word? I'm forgetting the word. They give specific words a lot of emphasis, dime como na 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 na. They kept that groove. For this one, I think they kept they didn't change anything from the song, the arrangement for the group, because I feel it's not a very it's vocally not challenging. What the challenge is keeping with the rhythm changes, because even within verses, here it's very but then it slows it down. And then again, and there's like certain sections where it like elongates and like kind of like slows it down, and then going into the faster part, that's the challenge of the song. It's not so much vocally challenged, but it's keeping up with the changes in the rhythms. Esta locura que siento por ti, con esta química que haces en mí. And I do know that in the song, that lower register is a little tricky. So I don't know why they keep trying, back here at this point, they kept trying to give Alex, and I think also it was when they were trying, when Luigi was still there, they kept trying to give him those lower vocals, and Alex was very flat. He couldn't reach that lower register. Like Kawe, that's like so easy for him. Obviously, back to Drew, he's learning Spanish, so his pronunciation wasn't perfect, but he nailed the vocal parts. You know, he did the vocal part well, and then Kawe, obviously, it's super easy for him. Like Kenneth nailed like that like that faster part. He nailed it, and like obviously it's not vocally challenging, but it's the keeping the beat, like I mentioned, keeping the beat, keeping your airflow. So he did perfectly. Just at the end, he ran out of air a little bit, and then when Alejandro was doing his part, he did sound like a little, the vocal sounded a little bouncy, but obviously it's getting used to the like movement while he's singing. But if you guys notice, they put him in the center a lot because they know that eyes gravitate to his style. Like he has this like this little bit of like a vibe that just draws people in. And then compared to like Alice and Kenneth's vocals, again, Leo like struggled with going to that lower register. And it's not an easy note to hit. It's hard, like going in, if you're not used to using your lower register, it's hard to get to there and to hit the note. So at least he tried, you know. It was just like that note change that you could tell he like struggled. Because he went off keys in vivo, and it's soles en mi voz, and he went vo. So, and then, but it's fine because then it goes from him going off key to this off key guy. Who was that did that second part? Was it Lucas or Kawe? I think it was Kawe, right? Hold on. I'm trying to find out who does that second dale al tiempo. I'm trying to find out who's the second person that does the y dale al tiempo, baby al tiempo. Oh, it was Lucas. Like if you compare the way Alex does it to how Lucas does it, Lucas is doing it better. He's not, he's flat. Y dale al tiempo, baby al tiempo. He's just like staying in that flat line instead of y dale al tiempo, baby al tiempo. He's not doing the key change, he's just staying flat. So, and you can hear it. And then compare that to, I think it's Lucas that's doing it the second time.
Así que guárdalo, guárdalo, para que la próxima vez te lo dé haciéndolo, haciéndolo, haciéndotelo así, 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 así como te gusta, baby.
And obviously, they gotta, since Alex is not standing out, they gotta give him a random somersault that I don't know where it fits in the choreography. It's just like, hey, let's just do a flip over this other guy so people can notice you. Like, that doesn't fit the vibe of the song.
Así como te gusta, baby. Así como te gusta, baby.
You could tell that they practiced that because they like finished it at the same time. But I liked how they, if you notice, they had Lucas and Alejandro in the middle because they were playing off of each other towards the vocals towards the end, and everybody was doing like backups, but they were the ones that were doing like, baby no, me rehúso darte así que me rehúso darte un último beso, así que guárdalo. Like, they played off of each other in those lines, and vocally they matched. See, like, Lucas was really stable right there. And then it goes from Lucas to Alejandro. Para que la próxima. And then it went back to Lucas. So I like how they did that, like they're bouncing it, tossing it back and forth, and vocally they match. Leo still has trouble doing his, when he wants to do his runs, he still has trouble controlling the air. He still wants to do it from his throat instead of just letting the air flow. So he's still doing, back at this point, he's still, instead of letting the air flow and naturally like the vocal cords vibrate to do the vibrato, he's doing it himself. So it's like, así, instead of, hey, letting it flow. So as a group, they did well. Everybody was like matching the vibes, keeping in tune with each other, because it's like the rhythm is very easy to get into. Dun, 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 dun. So it's just like very bouncy, you know, it's remembering the choreo. Vocally, obviously we have like our pros, Gawe, Kenneth. Ale felt like a little unstable at the beginning, like a little bit like breathy, but it could also be his mic, because like when you have like headsets, they do have a habit of like, if you're bouncing a lot, of moving away from your mouth. So that could be one thing. And I only mention that because there are there's a lot of like already tenured artists that use headsets, and a lot of the time when you see them like press the headset closer to their mouth, so that from the movement throughout the performance, it has like moved, and just like a little bit of movement is going to affect the sound, just the way like if you have a handheld, if you move it away from your mouth, it sounds farther. But other than that, like I love the playing the lines between bouncing the back and forth between Lucas and Alejandro. Drew, even though he was still struggling a little bit with the Spanish lyrics, he hit his notes. Obviously, there was still like a little restraint on some of them, but the one that's always flat is Alex. Since he was flat, they just gave him a random somersault. Like, here, just do a flip here, so people are like, wow, you know? But like I've mentioned every single time, you have to have the whole package. There's only so much that people can do to like hide your vocals before it's noticeable. Because like, let's say if it's been like 2, 3, 4 years that they've been together, there's going to be times when they're going to start giving people just like solos, so they shine. Will he hold his solo? Or are they just trying to like give him a couple more months, a little bit more time to fix his vocals and just try to hide it in between all that time? I don't think that's fair. If they're really only going to debut 5 people, I don't think it's fair for other people that are already there to lose their spot just because they want to keep this guy because he's a good dancer. Because he's 21 and a good dancer, whereas you have another good dancer but he's 25. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a little bit fair. And personally, I feel like Drew matches, like, still looks youthful even though he's the oldest. He still looks youthful, and I feel like to me, Alex looks a little bit older than 21. I would have thought he was like 23, just going off of looks. Maybe that's just me. You guys might see it different. But anyways, we are going to move on to group 2. Who was in this group? Okay. Oh, whoa, we went way back. So in this group, we had Gaby. Oh, Jesuale, Priano. Wait, is that Pablo? I don't know, I was forgetting his name. Luigi, Diego, and I don't know who's hiding back there. What am I missing? But just looking at the styling right off the bat, the styling, like these two stand out. Why do we have everybody in like pants, whether it's like cargos or jeans, like denim, and then we have these two in the shorts, like the baggy shorts. And again, very matchy, like blue top and blue hat, random red jersey and red beanie with the red shoes. It's like too matchy, like too coordinated. They looks like they tried so hard. And this like look doesn't even fit Jesuale. Jesuale is very like youthful, like you gotta accentuate the assets, and here in his case it's his hair and his eyes, and you put a beanie on him. Like this look just makes him him and Priano look like big blobs boxes. Whereas you have over here, you have Luigi with a more fitted denim, and then you have Diego with like a more fitted shirt. This one, at least you could see his body, you know, and he looked like a preppy as always. So just like off of this style, I don't know what was happening here with like, you have a baseball cap but you're wearing a chain and with a chunky sneakers. Like, I don't know if this was, I don't remember if this was the styling team or if there was his style, but it doesn't look cohesive as a group. So anyways, we're gonna look at the vocals now. Oh, Yanis. How could I forget Yanis? You could tell Pablo's carrying it right now. Everybody's doing backup, and Pablo's obviously he's in the middle. So starting off, like, here's the main vocal, kicking off the song. Who was it that kicked it off in? I already forgot who kicked it off in group 2. Group 1, I think it was Leo, right? But right now you could distinguish the vocals right away that Pablo's taking the lead.
Babylon girl. Babylon girl, Babylon girl. Dime cómo le explico a mi destino que ya no estás ahí. Dime cómo haré para desprenderme de este frenesí.
Again, he didn't, like I mentioned before, they kept trying to give Luigi and Alex the lower vocals, but they weren't hitting them. I don't know why they were having him do that one, but right off the beginning you could hear Pablo had the steady vocals. Babylon girl. Like, I love that sound, girl. That's how it should sound. Like, the vibrato is very natural. It's just the airflow creating that girl instead of girl. Girl, you're forcing it. Girl, you're letting the air vibrate against your vocal cords.
Dime cómo le explico a mi destino que ya no estás ahí. Dime cómo haré para desprenderme de este frenesí. Esta locura que siento por ti.
Pobre.
Con esta química que haces en mí.
Like, they gave Luigi a little bit of the lower, he couldn't hit it, and then same thing with Jesuale. He couldn't hit that lower register because it's not, he's 16. It's still not, his vocals are not trained to hit the lower register. So it just sounds very youthful. It's almost like he's talking. And see, this is a perfect example of Priano sticking out. Because it goes from, and like the stark contrast between Diego and Priano is like so noticeable. Like, Diego sounds like very youthful, very like clean vocals. He's hitting the vocals. Perdóname si te ilusioné, yo no lo quise hacer. And then Priano goes a little octave higher, but he does a little too much towards the end. Why does he have to do all those runs? Like, the original track, which everybody's covering, the arrangement is just like the original track. It doesn't have as many runs. What's the lyric? Vuelve, vuelve. Vuelve, vuelve is the original arrangement. But he's just got to throw extra runs in there. Like, we know that you can do runs. We know that you can do it, but this is not the time. Ooh, I feel like that was Yanis's turn to shine, but Pablo's vocals were stronger. Or he was the background. I don't know if those lyrics were age appropriate. Like, if you guys know what you're talking about, I don't know if a 16-year-old should be singing that. But the harmonies are not harmonizing. Like, Gabi nailed that fast. I don't want to call it a rap because it's not a rap. It's like the fast lyric. He nailed it. Like, he didn't run out of air because it stayed within a vocal range that is comfortable for him. So then he didn't have to think about like, oh, I have to hit this note or I have to hit this note. He's like, I'm right here in my comfort level. And that's why like, that's why I was saying that later on he kind of started falling apart, and I was like, Gabi, what are you doing? What's happening? But I want to go back to, like, Pablo's vocals are very clear throughout this song. And I feel like Jesuale was very steady here, and he was giving like very youthful, like yearnful vocals. Like, I like how he did it right here. Briano's vocals don't fit. He's sounding... Everybody sounded very united, and Briano just sticks out because he reminds me of Elvis Crespo. Like, that vocal that Elvis Crespo gives, that like very distinct type of vocal. He's not adapting his vocals to the song style. He's just doing it in his own style. And Diego struggling with those notes. Si te pierdes solo sigue mi voz. Mi voz. He's like, mi voz. Like, he struggled. Mi voz. Ooh, even from back here, you could notice Yanis was off with the choreo. Like, he's hitting the notes. He's doing it vocally, but he's struggling with the choreo. He's behind on the choreo. Like, he missed some of the arm choreo. Wait. And in this case, the ones that were bouncing off each other were Pablo and Jesuale, because they have like very similar notes that they're trying to hit. So it should be just like an octave higher than the other, but it's within the same vocal range. So that's why it's like, you could tell the slight difference in the notes, which is how the arrangement is, but it fits. So you can tell the difference in like, not only who's singing it, but like what verse and the way that the accentuation on specific words are from this verse to this verse. Ooh, and even in the choreo, like I mentioned in other videos, and also like Son mentioned in his feedback in the episode after this one, they have to match the choreo. The choreos have to match, like the styling has to match, the energy has to match. Like, look at the hips. Briano puts more hip movement in it than everybody else. He's like extra hippie.
Así como te gusta, baby.
Okay, whoever did that lower note nailed it. Like, this was the first time I hear this, like, very, like, the two that were doing the low notes nailed it. It was very, like, ooh, you could hear it. I think it was Diego. Diego and Luigi. Like, Diego nailed that lower note. It was like very deep bass. Like, I could feel it here. But even like, see, even at the end of the formation, here, they're very spaced out. They're not equally spaced. I know it's this performance was very earlier in the show, but this is one of the things that they also have to be careful when they're doing the formations and they're doing like the choreography, especially if they're going to be standing. They have to be equally distanced from each other. And right here, there's this giant gap, and then these look kind of like crowded into each other. Because if you're thinking like, this is the camera blocking, and this is where the camera cuffs off, and it's not going to catch this rest. I don't want to be too close to the end. Like, this gap looks like a third person could fit there. Like, another person could fit there. So that's something that they need to take a look at. But I like the little harmonizing they did here, and like Diego did really well with that bass and at the end. So yeah, I know that like I'm mentioning things like about, I know it's like an older performance, so I'm seeing it with eyes, especially how far along they are now. But it's interesting to catch the things that they're mentioning about Yannis now, they were happening since here. So I get where the judges are coming from, where they're saying he's not quite there. Because as a soloist, he's like nailing everything. But with a group, you can notice, it stands out when he messes up the choreography, when he's like a step behind, or he misses an arm movement, or he's like a second ahead of the beat, ahead of everybody else. It stands out. And like I mentioned, it could throw off other people next to him. So that's one of the things that I'm noticing now, looking at older performances, comparing to where he is now and the comments that are being made about him, that it's something that he hasn't corrected. He's a good vocalist. And he's good at like performing and emoting, but in the choreo part, he's still messing up in those aspects. So I get why they mentioned that recently. But then again, another one that has not improved at all is Alex with his vocals. So looking at the episode that just aired, I don't know which one of the two they're gonna let go, or if they're gonna let go of both of them, or if they're not gonna let any of them go and have 10 people go into the showcase. I call it showcase, where they're gonna announce, the finalists. So yeah, like overall as a group they did well. I like their harmonies, but like I mentioned, some were like when they gave his suale, those lower notes, he wasn't able to nail them, so I don't know why they gave them to him. Diego was struggling with them a little bit, but I feel like at the last one where he had to hit that lower bass, he nailed it. He nailed that part. Poriano, he was hitting everything, but he's just doing, he needed to dial it back. He was doing it all in his style. So he stood out, like his vocals stood out, but because they sounded different than everybody else's. He was adding more riffs, more runs, and he was doing it in his like own little flavor instead of like matching his group. And like I mentioned before, just because you have one amazing vocalist doesn't mean that everybody else has to match that vocalist. Sometimes that amazing vocalist has to dial it back so it doesn't stand out as much when it's supposed to be a group effort and everybody needs to sound cohesive. So again, that's why I understand why they let him go, because either he wasn't able to dial it back, or he wasn't willing to. So those one or two things. So he's not made to be part of a group, obviously, because he's got his own style. He stands out too much, so that's why they had to let him go, even though he was an amazing vocalist. And obviously we know that Luigi's gone now and Diego had to leave because of his back injury. But yeah, I hadn't paid attention. Like, Pablo's vocals really stood out in this performance. His vocals were very clean, very crisp, noticeable. He was always on key. Gavi did well with the vibe, the energy of the song, the rhythm, the feel of it. Just sometimes his vocals were lost a little bit because he sings so soft. I feel he still needs to work on getting enough air to like let the vocals come out stronger, because right now they're a little bit weak. Maybe that's what they like about him, that he sounds a little bit like breathy and like he's losing his air. Maybe that's the sound they like coming from him. But I do know that in the most recent performances, you can hear the vocals sound a little bit stronger, come a little bit stronger, because he is working on that airflow. But anyways, those are my comments with these performances. They all did pretty good. They all nailed like the flavor of the song, the vibe of the song, like the rhythm, the energy that the song was giving. So they all did an amazing job. But let me know what you guys thought in the comments. What were your standouts? What did you notice anything after like rewatching the performance? Obviously when they originally aired to now rewatching it again. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you next time.